gonna see if we can come up with a topic. And I have been eating a lot more food right now. Been noticing that's in my diet, and nothing's been stopping me though. So let's see if we can't play a video game and talk about something for a minute. Let's see here. I like to talk about certain things, I guess. Certain pertinent subjects.
Glad to see you. The orcs of the Many Arrows tribe are threatening to overwhelm this area of the city. If you're wondering what's going on, could use your help in driving them back. If you're interested, talk to Sergeant Creed at the Fallen Tower Tavern.
Let's see what's going on over here. See if I can find some secret stuff. I went through a lot of I think experiences. I wouldn't say struggles that much, because although I did have an internal struggle, I usually made the right decision, and I really wanted to make, let's see, like, I wanted to make myself believe in myself more, you know, like I wanted to be able to see myself for someone who I actually was, and not someone who I was just, like, trying to be, I guess. So it's not like I was trying to be someone that I'm not, because I am basically a, what's the word when it comes to it?
Watch your back. The enemy is everywhere.
Yeah, whatever. A lot of times a lot of times I believed in certain, like, pertinent information sometimes that would inform me on whether or not something was about to happen, like the way that weather patterns would move, and like, I mean, it's really hard to explain a Category 5 hurricane sometimes, especially in like low pressure systems. That's the reason why a lot of times when it strikes land, it just dissipates sometimes. Not exactly dissipates, but starts to dissipate as soon as it touches down, as it has downfall on land. And a lot of that started to make me think about the certain stuff that I was that I believed in as a person, and it's really hard to maintain a storm. The Earth basically maintains storms all the time, but understandably so, with so much that's going on, and so many things that are that I used to be able to it's not really bleed power, I guess, but like it's like so many things are very harmful to what people might actually think they are, and it has nothing to sometimes to do with actual radiation or anything like that. It has everything to do with unresponsive radiation, because like it pertains to like Murphy's Law, I guess, and unresponsive radiation can be kind of anything. It's like people would call it like the essence of something, like in like spiritual talk or something like that. But in actuality, it's more like a chemical substance that's leaking off of a because of its chemical chemical unstableness, I guess. I don't know. Or alchemic lack of stability, I guess. I'm not saying that. I mean, people call it that, and it's like, the only reason why they call it alchemic is, it's more like it defies what chemistry actually says it is. That's kind of like when certain minerals are mixed together, I guess, or certain substances are mixed together, they kind of multiply in a radiative form, I guess, and that's kind of where alchemy is. So where alchemy comes through, or is seen through. A lot of times I've seen certain and it is real, but I mean it's just a certain definition, I guess, and eventually it'll probably be like accepted into formalness, accepted into formal construct, I guess. I don't know, I guess, but I don't know when. But back to what the storm does. When a hurricane itself touches land, it kind of instead of its polarity being pulled down to the water, by getting up certain things, and it's like, it seems to me like there's something in the middle that's kind of pulling at it, but it's like. But I mean, that's probably neither here nor there, I guess, because it usually pulls from high pressure and low pressure systems that happen at a certain altitude. And I think that's basically where it pulls from, kind of, is the high pressure and low pressure systems that are cycling through, basically trying to, yay. A lot of times I think about what kind of elements or minerals, or what kind of minerals there could be, or what kind of minerals are affected by high pressure and low pressure systems. And I think a lot of times it has to do with its density. A lot of times they're going to have to make more dense building materials too, and it's probably going to happen a lot more. There's going to be a lot of misunderstandings when it comes to the way that you build certain things, and people are going to have to understand that the way that certain constructs happen, I guess, in certain, or at least in my own opinion. I think certain constructs happen because of a disturbance in certain areas of the atmosphere, and it could have a lot to do with the Earth itself making sound. Because I mean, areas called high pressure and low pressure, so I think that has more to do with sound than it actually has to do with hot or cold or anything like that. And but also too, temperature changes physics, so it's like that, I guess. A lot of times, when I used to think about the way that earthquakes used to happen, or something, the way that a bunch of different things used to happen, what's the word, like when lava flows happen, there's a change in the barotomic pressure, I guess. And within my own struggles, I kind of I saw, I guess, and I don't see it usually much anymore. I saw kind of a struggle, I guess, to be able to keep myself. But in actuality, I think a lot of times I realized that the change itself was good, and a lot of times a lot of times there were certain what's the word, certain evidences that made me think that that somehow there were a lot of certain evidences that made me think that that the way that I did things were that a lot of times I basically what's the word, I basically made obstacles for myself in my own life, and a lot of times people would think that somehow I wasn't all the way there because of it. Like, I guess that made me distance myself from something that I could have gotten a lot easier. I don't think that it was the fact of me making obstacles that made me better of a person, but I think that it made me more, or not it, but I made myself more used to the things that happen in everyday life, and kind of the reasons why and not to say that I wasn't invested in any of those things, you know, because sometimes, and when you're emotionally invested in certain things, it's like, you really get disappointed really easily sometimes when you're not met up to, when things don't happen as per your expectations. And when I was basically trying really hard to not really hard, when I was trying a lot more, what's the word? Man, I don't want to go back into any stupid thing because I don't think that actually it'll make me seem like more of a better person. I just think that a lot of times that it'll actually make me seem like a worse off person, I guess. And most of the time, I like to think of myself as a person that doesn't really care about people's stuff most of the time. Because the more I start to care, the more I start to what's the word? Have feelings for, and it's hard for me to have feelings now without getting invested emotionally. And that's the reason why I like to stay away from people, because it's people that I don't know, and people that I don't understand. And when I get emotionally invested, I find that it's a lot more what's the word? I find that it's a lot more keen and variabilistic nature to be able to make a better part of myself seem a little bit like something, and the more I start to find out that I've been kind of duped into thinking something, the more I realize that yeah, I kind of was just duped into thinking something. Understandably so, I wasn't the person exactly at fault because I just felt uninvested in the situation, or felt too invested in the situation and felt like I needed to distract myself sometimes. And by distracting myself, I decided to, and the situation I'm talking about is in one of my jobs, but I think I have two distinct variable notions that I can kind of come back to, I guess. And that is, first of all, I've been to therapy, I guess, and, group therapy mostly, but and I have a responsibility to myself and those people, I guess. I guess I had a responsibility to myself and those people. I mean, they kind of disappointed me with the words they said, but it made me also think about other things that I could actually do with myself, and so basically the experience itself was eye-opening. It wasn't exactly therapy, but it was exactly eye-opening because I realized that I could do this on my own, and I was smart enough, and I am smart enough to be able to control my own emotions, and a lot of times people get worried about me, and I don't want to worry them, you know? It's like I don't want to, so I wish they would like just stop. You know, it's like just stop worrying about me. It's just it trust me, it causes more stupidity than you think, I guess. And a lot of times it's not the thought of worrying, but the actions afterwards that cause more of an effect on someone's life than it would be to just say that you care about them. I mean, and not to say that the words like in a possessive sense, but in the words of like in a figurative sense, in a not in a physical tormenting sense, but let's say I care about you and that's the reason why you should be doing this stuff. She's like, no, you can do what you want, but just know that if you ever need anything, you're here, you know. And that's sometimes what you have to say, I guess, not really say, but do, because people can be very insensitive sometimes and not think about themselves. Before they think about a certain situation, they'll believe that anything can just turn out the way they want it to, and not understand the consequences of staying, I guess, in a messed up relationship, whether it be business-like or And it's not that fact that it's messed up, or maybe the fact that it isn't messed up. Maybe they just didn't screen their people as much as they should have. Or maybe they thought that somehow this person was completely and utterly mentally stable. Without realizing that, what a protector's enclave. I'm gonna sell some stuff. Without realizing that in order for them to be stable, you would have to take into account all the things that they've ever done that ever didn't make any sense, plus everything that ever did. Makes sense, you know? Like, it's like you have to talk about their jokes, or what their jokes mean, or how their jokes mean anything, and why they're laughing about that certain thing. It's like you're not just building something that you think is going to be good. You're not just trying to go have throwaway employees or anything like that. And not to say that they ever do, because I mean the people that usually are there come back even if they leave. So most of the time, though, I think that there are bigger reasons why people decide to I gotta go to Sunset Marketplace. There are bigger reasons why a lot of people decide to make certain appropriations for themselves. And yes, I need to drink my energy drink because I'm kind of a fiend for it right now. So good. Most of the time, oh man, it's hard, dude. It's not hard, it's difficult to express my feelings without trying to give away everything, all of my feelings, and the fact that I just love certain people, and like it's really hard to get past that sort of like, you know, I love them. I absolutely love them. Absolutely love them. But I want to live a part of my life too, and even if I do live it with them, I still want to have a consciousness. I don't want to stare at their beauty constantly all the time. Not to say that I don't enjoy it, but not to say that I don't think they're pretty. Not to say that I'd be distracted by their prettiness, but to say that it's not the only thing that they are. That's not the only person, the only kind of way they're going to be. It's not like they don't have a sense of humor or something like that, and I'm reading this stuff. Okay, all good. Most of the time when I was trying to build my own kind of personality on a certain sense, I wasn't trying to exactly change myself. I just thought that I guess I've gone through a lot of styles since I was a young kid. I went through a phase where I said yo, and I wasn't even from like any part of urban area. I just wanted to see what it sounded like. It was just like, yeah, I would experiment with different things, and I would try to say different things in certain ways to be able to understand the reason why people said stuff. because like it made me sound stupid, but like when I heard other people say it, it's like that sounds kind of cool when the way that they say it, you know. It's like, but also I had to realize that it was kind of like an idiom, I guess. It's like it sounds better when you hear it rather than when you say it yourself, because you get embarrassed whenever it's not like you don't have self-confidence, but you have more confidence sometimes in what other people say than what you say to yourself. So that's where I kind of had to realize my own shortcomings, I guess. It's like I had to stop trusting into what other people said and then start trusting in what I said about things. Not seeing as how I'm pretty knowledgeable about most stuff.
Do you need supplies?
I kind of wanted to to believe in something a little bit more. What's the word? That was a motorcycle. Awesome. I think that the more that I tried to figure out a problem or figure out some sort of thing, I didn't realize that the thing I was trying to 26 defense. Alright, and where is this resurgence lockbox? Okay, I'm gonna get this stuff out of here. But yeah, that's basically where I sat on or where I stood, or where I decided to sit or stand on most situations. Or at least on that situation, because I felt like I wasn't. Not the word. It's not like I didn't have faith in my family. It's not like I didn't have faith in what I really wanted to do with myself. It's just I didn't have faith in certain. What's the word? I didn't have faith in certain areas of someone who's obsessed with their career. I want to be able to bone cone to I'm not gonna sell that because I want to see what it is. And belt 73 maximum hit points. That's pretty cool. 130 million maximum hit points. Okay, cool. 21 defense. That.
Oh, you said.
Steel. That. Special refining items. Oh man, let's see. I'm probably gonna sell these. Yeah. And I got everything out that I want to get out. But yeah, that's basically. It's like I didn't have. I don't want to say that I didn't have faith in myself, because I still had faith in my decisions. And in certain areas of what I wanted to do, I had faith in the concept that that not a certain part of my life would.
It's been a long time since we Dragonborn. What do you wish to ask?
Ah, that is a long story.
I'll tell you some of the interesting bits. Until only 150 or so years ago, we lived in another world, where our people were slaves to the dragons.
That's life.
Then our world of Javier collided with your world of Tor. And all of us were transported here, away from our dragon masters. Today, we are free from the dragon's rule, our own people.
That would not
Perhaps
be true.
Even more interesting is how we were created. There are many tales, and most are vague.
Alright, so, most of the time whenever I see a certain part of myself shine through, I try to save that, I guess, because most of the times whenever I was trying to actually do something more pertinent or be able to get something in my life that I thought was better than just
Invoke your patron deity.
better than just situational irony. Because, I don't know, I mean, I know. I had to realize that I was doing a job, though. And no matter what feelings I had, no matter what feelings are still there, no matter what situation gets in my way, to be able to tell me that I'm not in love with someone, but that I do very much adore someone right now. And it's not an obsession. It's not something I think about every single day. And if I do think about it, it's more like if something was something, then something happens, then. But, I mean, me getting to that situation is probably, I'd say, there's not a lot of odds in my favor, so. Understandably so, if I were to win that gentleman's bet with that I made with no one. Then I would, then I would try my best to be able to make sure that I could see a better situation for myself. And see a better possibility so that if that situation ever rolls around, or if that person ever decides to if that person, this protection of identity, I'm not even going to say, if that person ever had if that person ever decides that I'm the one for them, or that maybe they're drawn to me, I guess. And they decide to go through with whatever I think they're doing. Then I would be very obliging, and extremely surprised, to say the least.
Exchange your astral diamonds for wondrous items.
There are things to be done.
But, that's what I think about that. And then, though, I see two different possibilities. I see two different parts of myself, pulling and pushing. I also understand that I am that person. I am that person who's pulling and pushing. And I have control over it. And, though my eyes water every once in a while because of latent emotions and thoughts that I'm not acknowledging. Or not really thoughts that I'm not acknowledging, but more over situations that I don't want to go into or describe in detail because of their revealing nature. I just think that there's a lot of times where I just think that there's a lot of times where I just think that there's a lot of times where I see a big issue coming up, and that issue is idiocy and dumbness. And whenever I see that issue, I understand that through certain, what's the word? Through a certain number of situations, I've really been making certain appropriations to be able to make sure that if people don't understand that things are going to change, if people think that they can't realize something or understand a certain formation of something, and they're trying to keep shit secret, or they're trying to do something, and I mean, I'm not saying that I'm not trying to do that same thing. I'm not saying that I'm not trying to do that same thing. I'm saying that if situations in my life become unexplainable, if people in my life become what's the word?
Stock up on potions before you enter Blacklake.
Unreliable, like I suspect they are, but know that in some ways they'll always remain that same person. then in that sense, I would ask whatever person out there that I know that I adore. In some ways, to just stay where they are. Because it doesn't always look like what it seems. I know that for a fact. I've known that for a while.
The rebels are everywhere. What? Ready for our next move?
I know that it may seem like it's like everything didn't happen, or people aren't gonna go to somewhere where they should be. In a general sense, but in that certain term of areas, there are just people who believe that somehow by stopping something they were the heroes. And in some cases they really stopped something that could have helped everyone. And I will go into no more detail on the subject. But just know that I know. Things shouldn't be this way.
Be prepared to defend yourself beyond this point.
And the more people realize that they shouldn't be this way, the more they're gonna realize that they really should have believed in themselves, instead of finding someone that they could believe in and forgetting about their own self-worth.
Stock up on potions before you enter Black Lake.
Because the point is if shit hits the fan, then it's gonna hit the fan harder than anyone else can ever even imagine. And people think that they can outlive it somehow, even though they're so close to death. It's unbelievably insane. It sucks, man. It really does.
The Nashers are attacking travelers on sight.
I can't believe in someone's nature. If someone's nature is just always complete and utter, not nonsense. I like nonsense. If it's just complete and utter, what's the word? Dangerous. It's dangerous to have so much self-confidence that it's detrimental to your own health sometimes. It's dangerous to have so much obliging neutrality that it's like you did nothing because you thought you did everything.
Be prepared to defend yourself beyond this point.
And that makes sense in a certain sense, because you, it's just, what's the word? And it takes so much for people to believe that, for people to be able to understand that there are so many reasons why people need to not duck and cover sometimes, is because if they want to leave a certain situation, all they have to do is just get in their car, drive off, and not think about it. get in a car, drive off, and just don't think about it. It's not meant for you to think about. It's not meant for you to do anything. It's not meant for you to say anything. It's not meant for you to think about it. But understand, the more you play a certain game of chase, the more you'll realize that that chase is starting to chase you. And in the certain term of the word is that you make the reflex of chasing so much, and then that chase itself and everything seems boring because the chase itself is just that boring to you, because it's the same thing over and over again. But you have to understand too is that if you don't do those same things over and over again, then how will you be able to learn to realize and understand that that reflex could be inert if you choose to go further with it and then realize your actual potential. I may not be a dude who thinks that I'm what's the word? I may not think that I'm a dude, that I'm a guy who helps someone in some way or does something by some nature, but I also know that I got stuck. At a certain point in my life, I ran out of information. Didn't run out of information in my head, but I ran out of pertinent information to be able to start saying. So I just started saying stuff that didn't make any sense. and that pertinent stuff that made no sense helped me get back to the person that I wanted to be, and the person who I really want to be today is the person who I am, is Joseph Anthony Rodriguez, Joe Bomb Squad. And as I start to realize that it's not enough to just be one person, you have to realize that
The Black Lake District is a dangerous place.
you can't use pertinent situations and act like they're meant to be. You can't say that, hey, this happened because I was here. No, that's only if you have an established reputation and people are actually seeking you out to try to hurt you. But me, being the person I am, or the person that I'm saying I am, I'm still not out of that danger.
Black Lake is a hostile area.
Because there are stupid people everywhere. There are people who do stupid things everywhere. And they do stupid things because they think it's okay. And then they understand that it's not okay. And then they still understand that they could try to do it again. Understandably so, they could try to do it again and then die. But they don't realize that you can't sniff the exhaust off of a ship. You know, you just can't. You can't sniff it because you die, and then you keep looking. It's where zombies come from. When people died and they were in such mental and reflexive anguish that they just started doing stuff. Their life was there, but it's like they divided their own cells in half. It's like the left side and the right side of the brain, they don't matter. It never mattered. It never mattered at all. It still never matters. Never matters. You use the right side of your brain for whatever. You use the left side of your brain for whatever you're thinking about. Use the right side of your brain for whatever you're thinking about. Use the left side of your brain for whatever you're thinking about. It's all the same. Doesn't matter how it's separated. Doesn't mean a goddamn thing. Your synapses fire literally in no pattern at all. That's why it's so hard to map dreams. and to actually not see images. Because it's not your eyes or your brain or your optic nerve actually experiencing those images. It's you experiencing your own synapses. Firing synapses that don't create images, but you create patterns to be able to understand what your brain is thinking inside your own head. So that's what it is. Alright. Neurology. Neurology. We ended on neurology, and we were talking about storms. But, I mean, you have to seriously realize that eventually it's not the storm itself isn't being propelled by the thing that's inside of that thing, but it's being propelled by its own kinetic energy. As the kinetic storm, the storm itself makes something, or does something, as in low and high pressure systems go, it ceases to exist and exists as a storm because of the minerals and the cold and hot water that surrounds it. So, basically, it's like your brain, okay? As you realize that you figured out your brain in 2 different sections, or you got your brain in 2 different sections, or you got a new brain in 2 different sections, it still matters to be able to understand that it's not the images that you're seeing inside your head. Okay, you're not experiencing any images inside your own head. You are coming up with patterns. So as you're able to control your synapses, you're able to control your dreams. Because that's the reason why. You're not in another place. You're not going to another place. You're not going anywhere else. This is the place you're going to stay. Because if you decide to eat food or try to eat food when you're dreaming, that's what happens. You try to eat food when you're asleep. And then you start to walk around and try to find food when you're asleep, and that's where sleepwalking comes into play. It basically has to do with food. Remember, be yourself. You are your own one-man metaphorical bomb squad, but you don't always need a bomb to defuse. Sometimes you can defuse bombs or situations or defuse anything by just not being there. Sometimes. Just be there less. Make your own individualistic thing and stop making it a huge relationship involvement. You know? Stop trying to go in just that direction and trying to say that I got everything I need completely and utterly organized and I did it. And then you realize just silence afterwards. No praise, no help, no you did a good job, unless someone actually knows you did a good job and wants to be there for you. That's the reason why you realize that being organized all the time is literally detrimental to your health sometimes. This, like, my mess that I have in my room right now is literally the only thing I'm thinking about, because there's color different variations, because there's different variables that are happening, and it makes me feel like looking at different patterns and different stuff, because it's all the stuff that my brain is trying to make, but it's also the stuff that I know in my own head is pertinent to what I actually need to figure out. So you are your own one-man metaphorical bomb squad. You can defuse situations before they happen, and you can stop situations from happening again if you realize that organization, it's not like it shouldn't be, but realizing that not caring about something when it's out is the lack of control that object or other objects will have on you if you lose them. So it's like, I like the way that Christians and Mormons and all those other different people think. They don't really hold any what's the word? They don't really hold any high hopes for things that are just worn or just used. But they also realize, or that I also realize, I guess they don't realize this, is that as you use them, as you understand them, you start to get more attuned to what it actually is, because your brain is coming up with so many different possibilities inside your head, and that, I think, is the reason why they're not actually attuned to it. So it's just, there's that. And also, I did drugs when I was younger, so because I was able to see and think about certain things and certain patterns that I really wanted to look at, I really wanted to see, and there is a process to being inspired. It's sometimes not giving a shit about what you actually think. It's giving a shit about what you actually feel emotionally and what your brain is trying to tell you through not words. How's it going, viewer or viewers? If you would like to talk to me or say something, I guess, or message me if you can. But that's basically what I kind of believe about certain things and the reasons why you don't need to read books to gain knowledge. But I think I'm gonna read more books now, only because I kind of got like I read an old book one time, and the smell stuck with me. I guess it wasn't like asbestos or anything like that, but it kind of stuck with me that that's how books get, basically, and it's not like the words in there are that pertinent. Understandably so, I should just be able to figure out certain things on a whim sometimes. And I am doing stupid fucking gestures. But yeah, be yourself and understand that there are people out there that care, and understand that you're not going to figure out who cares and who doesn't if you don't ask them questions first, you know? Also, to be yourself and don't make a scene. Don't try to. I'm gonna get out of here. Have a good day. Writing self, and realize that you're a very amazing person, and I don't believe in you per se. But I'm sure there's someone out there that does. Have a good day, and enjoy yourself.